Hello everyone, it's Ngozi and I'm back with another video. Today's video is going to be a good one. I'm going to be talking about the real reason why a lot of black women wear wigs and weaves. So if you're interested in this topic, make sure to stay tuned, subscribe for more content like this, and let's get into it. All right, so I'm talking about this because, on this channel I talk about wellness, I do a little bit of lifestyle, but most of it is around natural hair, particularly type 4 hair, 4C hair, right? I'm watching some videos lately and I just know that there's a lot of conversation about, people not liking wigs, men particularly not liking wigs or caring for wigs, or why we shouldn't be wearing wigs and we shouldn't be wearing weaves and we should embrace our hair more and more. And I agree to an extent, right? But I think that having these conversations without talking about the root, what's causing some women to wear these wigs and weaves, it's like we're basically starting too far down the road, right? So I remember college. I was in college from 2009, entered college, and back then it was sew-ins. Towards the end, quick weaves got big, but like girls were not wearing wigs. Like when I entered college, none of my friends and roommates, no one I knew was wearing like a wig. It wasn't a thing back then. Fast forward 15 years later, and it's like girls in high school are wearing wigs, right? And I think it's something that we do need to talk about, because growing up, wigs was something for like older women, like grandmas, like your aunties, or like celebrities. And even then, they weren't wearing like wigs. It didn't look like wigs. It looked like weaves. But like now that I know what I know, a lot of them were wearing wigs, but they were just like the really good wigs. They weren't like the beauty supply wigs. I wore my first wig at 23. And I remember why I started wearing wigs, and that's why I'm very cautious when it comes to this conversation about, telling women how they should and shouldn't be wearing their hair or suggesting it, because I do believe that there are a lot of valid reasons other than, of course, the beauty standard, the Eurocentric beauty standard a lot of us fall prey to, no matter how much we think it doesn't impact us. But I do think that there are a lot of reasons why natural hair girlies, black women, just women overall wear wigs other than that. When I think back to my reason, I was 23, going through a lot, and my hair was like falling out in patches, right? So I needed a way to like cover that up, and I didn't have time to worry about my hair. Hair was the last thing I was worried about at that time of my life. Last thing. Literal last thing. So I remember like buying this like curly wig. I think it was my first one, like a grandma wig. I think I want to pull it out. It's just crazy how like I feel like I look younger now than I did back then, and part of it was because of those type of wigs that I was wearing. But anywho, I put on that wig, and that was like my go-to wig for some time, right? It was my go-to wig like for like a year or so. So I bring this up because I think that a lot of times, especially people who maybe have like looser textures and their hair isn't that like thick or is more manageable, main reason why a lot of the girlies are wearing wigs is because of ease, time, and convenience. Wigs are easy. You have your cornrows braided down. Some people don't even need cornrows, depending on how, if your hair is not that thin, if it's on the finer side, they just have a few braids down. They could throw a wig on whenever they want to go out. And when they're in the house, they just have their hair out. When they go to the gym, they can have their hair out. This bandana I wore earlier, my hair is straightened right now. I just having a low ponytail, wash days coming up, but I have my bandana on like this in the front so my hair doesn't sweat out too much. But if I had like cornrows or if I had like braids under my wig, I'll put the same bandana, put it over, or I have like a hat I wear, go to the gym. Like me personally, I can't work out in wigs. Like I can't do it. I have to have my real hair out. So it's just easy. And I know it may sound like it's an excuse. I get it, I understand. But the reality is that when you get used to wearing wigs and you see how little of time you have to spend doing your hair, having your hair out can feel like a chore, especially if it's like mid-length, longer, you know what I mean? Like you can't just wash it and just keep it going. You have to actually wash it and style it. Come on now, that's a lot. So I personally think that the main reason a lot of women, black women are wearing the wigs is because of convenience. Same thing where I mentioned why in one of my previous videos that you guys showed a lot of love on earlier this year, why people are going back to perms and relaxers, convenience. I really do think that's the main reason. Of course, I don't live under a rock. understand all of the things that influence our decisions, especially when it comes to hair and just beauty and all those things. So I'm going to get there. But I truly believe the main reason people are wearing wigs is because of convenience. I didn't really discuss braids. I'm not a big braid person, but I think that also will fall under the same thing. But I think braids is a little different because of the origins, and I feel like braids get more of a pass socially, even though it's still not your hair, if you want to be honest. But I do think that braids get more of a pass, so that's why I didn't bring it up in this video. But same can apply for why some people wear like a lot of braids, the ease and the convenience. Number two, another reason why I believe a lot of natural hair girlies, black women wear wigs and weaves is because of the versatility. No matter how much you love your hair, that's good and great. We all want everyone to love, themselves, as they are, as God created them. It doesn't mean that you don't like anything else and that you're not going to get tired of yourself or get tired of just the same, like the monotony. So when it comes to wigs and weaves, what always I think makes black women stand apart is how we can just look so different. How like a hairstyle could just make us like a whole other person. You could see somebody with like braids, our coworkers be like, oh my gosh, like you see them with like a buzz down, then you see them with like a bob, then you see them with like, like a silk press, like that versatility, like wanting a different look, having a different style, wanting to look different is something that a lot of other people can't brag on. And I think that is another reason why a lot of us wear wigs and weaves. Sometimes you just want a different look. Sometimes you just get tired of the same old. And the reality is that even if your hair is naturally long, let's say you want blonde hair. Are you going to go dye your hair blonde just because you want to wear blonde hair for a week? No, that's when you throw on a blonde wig. You know what I mean? Let's say your hair is naturally long and you want a short cut. Are you going to go and cut your hair just because you want that look? Not necessarily. That's where a wig will come in handy. You could get that little bob wig, even with, versatility in terms of just wanting to look different, wanting to achieve certain looks. That's why I always say about natural hair, particularly why I think that it's so unique and it's such a gift, is that we can achieve any hairstyle for the most part, either with our natural hair or with extensions, any other like addition, like just adding stuff to our hair that other ethnicities and races can't really do, at least not at the same level as us. So I think versatility and like styling and just wanting options is another reason why a lot of women wear wigs. A lot of black women in particular wear wigs and weaves. And of course, I cannot have this conversation without discussing beauty standards and Eurocentric beauty standards specifically, right? Of course, this is always going to play a part in it, but I think a lot of it is unconscious, it's subconscious, and I don't think that it's as overt and as pronounced as a lot of us think. And doesn't mean that it's still not as dangerous, because that could even be making it even more dangerous. The fact that a lot of people don't even think about it is just something that reads in their subconscious, is that some women may feel more comfortable with certain looks that their natural hair can't achieve. And that's the truth. Like I talk about in my videos where I'm in my life now, I'm not really one to persuade people to do this or to do that. People are grown, they're going to do what they want to do. It's not my job to force everyone to love everything about themselves. It's just not realistic. Where I'm really concerned is about understanding the why behind why we do a lot of things. Even if it doesn't elicit change, and even if you still decide to carry on your life the way you want to, because in the day it's your life and you have that choice, I think it's always good to understand why we do certain things, because a lot of it is very, subconscious. I believe a lot of black women wear wigs and weaves because they are desiring to look a way that they can't look in their natural state, right? So maybe you grew up in the 70s and you saw, or the 80s, and you see the Madonnas and you see all these popular people and there's certain hairstyles that, you want to look like that. And even think about like celebrities. I think a lot of them have the pressure, black celebrities in particular, to wear their hair a certain way, to look a certain type of way, to fit like the mainstream look. And we'll never understand, at least I'll never understand, because I'm not at that level. So it's easy for me to say, or just wear a two-strand twist, or, wear your hair in its natural state. But for some, that's not really an option for them, It's interesting because, I think that we spend a lot of time discussing how much mainstream media and like the Eurocentric beauty standards affect black women and the decisions we make. But let's say you go to countries like, I believe it's Japan, where people get like the perms to make their hair really curly and like they tease it out certain way to kind of just look like textured natural hair. Or like the rise of like white people like getting dreads and locks. Do we attach the same level of self-hate? This is a rhetorical question. I don't know. As we do when black people are, when black women are using hair textures and having their hair look like women that are not black. You know, and I think it is a bit different because of the history, like racism in America and just overall around the world, and how black women have been kind of never have really been the standard in terms of beauty. So I feel like when other races are emulating us, I don't think that they get that same pushback in terms of self-hate that we get when we're trying to emulate other races. Let me know how you feel about that. Is that something you ever consider? Like, you know, right now, if someone is wearing dreads, I think for like the farthest we'll say is that they're what's the term that we use? Okay, cultural appropriation. The most they'll get tagged up with is cultural appropriation, but do they get the same pushback like from their community, as in like, oh, you hate yourself, you should be wearing your hair in the state that it naturally is? I'm just curious about that. Yeah, so when it comes to, you know, the real reason why I think a lot of black women wear wigs and weaves, I really do think that a lot of it has to do with time and convenience. I do think that I'm not saying this is a valid excuse, but I do think that when you get used to that lifestyle of wig wearing and weave wearing, anything else can just seem like a chore, because it's just so easy, it's just so simple. And I'm not saying that it's better, I'm not saying that that's the way we should be going, but I do think that you kind of get caught in that. And I saw myself getting caught in that vicious cycle of the wigs and weaves the last few years, and I had to make a decision like, no, I gotta wear my hair out more this year in 2024. And I'm so proud of myself. And to be honest, the only reason why I feel like I was able to wear my hair out as much as I have been this year is because I went on a straight hair natural journey. To be honest, I know a lot of girlies feel the same way. It helps you, it helped me keep with my routine and wash my hair every 2 weeks. It helped me be able to do my hair myself. I had less anxiety about doing my hair. It saved me time. So even my decision to wear my hair out more was still centered around wearing my hair out more in a state that would take me as little time as possible. Right? So I can't, for me to take away that convenience and time aspect and just make it all about self-hate and the white gaze and, you know, the beauty standards and all that stuff, I think that that's just disingenuous. It's definitely a part of it for sure, but I don't think that it's just that. It's a lot of other factors. Like I mentioned, the versatility part, I feel like a lot of us we like looking different. We like having the option to style up our hair and have a different look. You go through a breakup, you have a different look. This time you have the fall, winter, spring, summer, you know, we enjoy that. And I don't think that we should be shamed for it, right? And of course, I did mention, you know, the beauty standards that a lot of us are knowingly or unknowingly feeding into because we're humans and we live in America, or if you don't live in America, you still live on Earth. You understand as a black woman the things that we experience, you know, and how mainstream media sometimes doesn't really represent us in the best ways or as often as it can. So we definitely are affected by that, right? What do you all think about my 3 reasons black women wear wigs and weaves? If you have another reason that you feel like I missed or you don't agree with the reasons I listed, comment down below and let's finish this conversation down there. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.